Okay. So ready to dive into something that I think we all think about a lot, whether we admit it or not.
I'm totally ready.
Body image,
Really
right?
huge topic.
It is. And, you sent me these really fascinating articles from Psychology Today. And I was thinking about, one focuses on the struggle to actually love your body.
Yeah,
And the other one, it digs into that whole science behind attraction.
right.
And so, wouldn't it be cool to kind of unpack how those two things connect? So, how we see ourselves
Yeah. Yeah.
and how we perceive others.
Okay, I'm with you.
I think it's going to be, there's going to be some like aha moments, I think.
Totally. Yeah.
Because it's so much more than just looks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It really is.
It's way more than skin deep.
It is. It's
Yeah.
just really fascinating. So, we're constantly told to love our bodies
Right.
as if it's just this simple choice that we can all make.
Just love it. Right.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
But, in reading these articles,
Yeah.
I think it reveals that it's so much more nuanced than that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that it's shaped by all these different factors.
Yeah.
Like our personal experiences, societal pressures,
Mm.
maybe even evolution plays a role.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that really struck me about the first article was this woman, Brianna, who's like wrestling with that whole mantra of love your body.
Oh, yeah.
And she's finding it not just unrealistic, but also kind of frustrating.
Right.
Like, it's not helping her. It's almost making it worse.
Yeah. No, it's like when people say, just be happy,
Exactly.
like it's not that easy.
Exactly.
It's so much deeper than that.
Yeah, and her story, I think, really hit home for a lot of people because she talks about these insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about being self-conscious about her thighs, which I think we can all relate
Oh,
to.
totally.
On some level, right? Like,
Right.
we've all had those moments.
Yeah, and it also highlights how a lot of these insecurities, they really do stem from, our childhood experiences.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And she even mentions, I think she even carries like the weight of some early judgments that were made about her appearance.
Totally.
You know,
And it's amazing how those early messages, they just stick with you,
they do. They really do.
don't they?
Even years later.
Yeah, like, they become part of your story.
It's like that internal script that we all have.
Hmm.
But I did think it was interesting how Brianna also acknowledges the power of like a polished appearance,
Mm-hmm.
and how her friend like observed at the job candidate who looked more kind of put together
Mm-hmm.
was the one who was chosen, even if she wasn't necessarily the most qualified on paper.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Like how we present ourselves to the world.
Right. It makes you wonder, is there some like truth to that, like idea that beauty can give you an edge?
Right.
But then at the same time, Brianna also talked about this picture that she kept in her bathroom
Yeah.
of a happy older woman. I think it was from like National Geographic.
Right, right.
And she kept that as this reminder
Yeah.
that true beauty, it really does go
Like
beyond.
superficial.
Yeah, totally.
That's so interesting. And her story also points this idea of shifting our focus away from appearance.
Yes.
Like her friend found a lot of comfort in cooking for her loved ones.
Oh, nice.
Which allowed her to be more present and mindful about food.
Yeah.
Not in a restrictive way, but in a way that nourished both herself and the people she cared about.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the article brings up Brene Brown, which, I love Brene Brown. And that whole idea of shame and empathy
Mm-hmm.
and suggesting that by like focusing on others
Yeah.
and cultivating empathy,
Yeah.
we can actually quiet those voices in our head.
It's like we're giving our brains something else to focus on
Yes, exactly.
instead of just that constant self-scrutiny.
Yes, it's like we're moving from this place of self-judgment
Yeah.
to a place of self-compassion.
Exactly.
And I think that's so powerful.
And that shift, I think, can also impact how we relate to others
Yeah.
and how we experience attraction.
Yes.
And that brings us to that second article,
Yes.
the one that dives into the science behind attraction.
Sure.
And it's so much more intricate than just like being drawn to someone's looks.
I know, because we've all had those moments where we feel that instant spark with someone and we're like, oh, what is it about this person?
Totally, yeah.
I can't even put my finger on it.
And this article suggests that it's not just about beauty in that conventional sense, but it's more like an aesthetic experience.
Okay.
Like being drawn to a piece of art or music, even if it doesn't fit those traditional definitions of beauty.
Okay.
There's just something about it.
Interesting.
It evokes something in you.
So are you saying like there are these kind of underlying patterns or
Yes.
principles
Totally.
that are at play
Absolutely.
that we might not even be consciously aware of.
Right, exactly. And the article talks about these two dimensions of attractiveness, physical and psychological. Physical, of course, that encompasses things like, facial symmetry, body proportions, grooming habits, like those outward measurable features.
So that's like we've all heard about like the golden ratio
Yes.
and how certain features are considered more appealing.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's psychological attractiveness.
What does that even mean?
Right.
Like, how do you define that?
So psychological attractiveness, it goes beyond the surface, right? It delves into personality, emotional intelligence, and how someone makes us feel.
Oh, okay.
It's things like kindness, compassion, confidence, humor, emotional stability.
Got it.
Those things that really draw us to somebody, often beyond those initial, like, physical impressions.
So it's about the whole package.
Yes.
Not just like the wrapping paper,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
It's how they make you feel.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that both physical and psychological attractiveness are influenced by this combination of evolutionary factors
Oh, wow.
and social conditioning.
Okay, interesting.
So, for example, from an evolutionary standpoint, certain physical features, they might signal like health and fertility.
So we're literally hardwired
In a way, yeah.
to find certain things attractive.
To some extent, yeah. But we also have to consider the impact of culture, right?
Right.
What's considered attractive can vary so much across different culture
Yeah.
and time period.
Oh, for sure. Like what was considered beautiful, like back in the day,
Yeah, totally different.
is totally different now.
Yeah.
So it's really like beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
In a lot of ways, yes. And it's constantly evolving, which I think is really interesting.
It is. And you mentioned something before that I wanted to circle back to.
Yeah.
This halo effect.
Oh, right.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so the halo effect is basically a cognitive bias where we tend to attribute positive qualities to people who are physically attractive.
So basically, we're more likely to assume that someone who's attractive is also like smarter,
Yeah.
kinder,
Yeah.
more trustworthy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that whole stereotype of what is beautiful is good.
It's like they have this aura
Right.
of positivity.
Yeah.
So we just see the good in them.
Exactly. And this can actually have like real world consequences.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. It can influence things like hiring decisions, how we treat people in social situations.
It's like a reminder that we
Yeah.
have to be so mindful of our biases,
Absolutely.
and really look beyond just those initial impressions.
Exactly.
Because true attraction, it really is,
Multifaceted.
yes,
Yeah.
so much more than just physical appearance.
Absolutely.
And I'm so curious to dive deeper into this aesthetic experience of attraction.
Okay. Yeah.
What makes it so unique?
Yeah.
How does it go beyond those kind of surface level preferences that we might have?
Yeah. That's a great question. So we're back, diving deeper into this whole idea of body image and attraction.
Yeah. And, it's so fascinating how, like, these two topics are so connected.
Right. They really are intertwined, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest takeaways so far from these articles we're looking at is that, like, attractiveness, it's not some, like, fixed objective thing.
Mm-hmm. It's so fluid.
Yeah, it really is. And it's influenced by all these different factors like biology, psychology, even culture. It's so interesting.
Absolutely. It's this dynamic interplay of all these different forces.
And it's kind of liberating, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, it's not about fitting into some predetermined mold.
Totally. Yeah. It's about embracing our individuality.
Yeah, it's about finding what makes us feel good.
Exactly. And it brings us back to Brianna's story, right?
Oh, yeah, Brianna.
Remember, she was really struggling with this pressure to love her body.
Yeah, and I think so many people feel that pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're supposed to just wake up one day and love everything about themselves.
Right. As if it's a switch you can just flip.
Right, exactly. And I think social media really amplifies that pressure too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with these like perfect images.
Mm-hmm. Airbrushed, filtered, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, it's like this unattainable ideal of beauty that we're all supposed to be striving for.
Right. And it can be so damaging to our self-esteem.
Yeah. But, I think Brianna's story and these articles in general remind us that beauty is about so much more than that.
Absolutely.
It's about who we are on the inside.
It's about our character, our values, how we treat others.
Yes, and like how we treat ourselves too.
Exactly. It's about self-acceptance.
Yeah, and I think that's so powerful, you know?
It's incredibly empowering.
Like, how do we actually cultivate that?
Well, the articles offer some really good strategies.
Yeah.
One is practicing gratitude.
Oh, okay.
It sounds simple, but it can be really powerful.
Gratitude for our bodies, like, what does that look like?
It's about taking a moment each day to appreciate all the amazing things your body does for you.
Mhm.
You know, instead of focusing on what you perceive as flaws, shift your attention to your strength, your abilities, the experiences your body allows you to have.
Oh, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
celebrating our bodies as, like, instruments of experience. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And another helpful tip is to challenge those negative thoughts when they come up.
Oh,
You know, those thoughts that tell you you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, all of that.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it kind? Is it even true?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, those thoughts are based on like unrealistic expectations
Oh, yeah.
or societal pressures that we've internalized.
So we're basically, like, becoming more aware of that inner critic and then choosing to, like, respond differently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With more compassion and understanding.
Yeah, and also being mindful of the messages that we're consuming.
Oh, huge. Yeah. The media can be so toxic.
It really can be.
Like constantly bombarding us with these unattainable beauty standards. It's so important to be critical of those messages and
Yeah.
to curate our media intake, you know.
Seek out the good stuff.
Yes, find those sources that promote body positivity.
Yeah.
Celebrate diverse body types.
Yeah, it's like we're taking control of our own narratives, you know,
Absolutely.
choosing what we want to focus on.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's important to remember that this whole self-acceptance thing, it's a journey, not a destination.
So true. Yeah. It's not like you wake up one day and you're suddenly perfectly self-accepting.
Right.
It's something you have to work at.
There are going to be good days and bad days.
Exactly. It's about being patient with yourself, being kind to yourself,
Yeah.
and just keep practicing that self-compassion.
And I think as we cultivate that self-acceptance, it really can impact how we see other people too.
Right. It influences our relationships, our perceptions of attractiveness.
Yeah, and it brings us back to that second article about attraction as an aesthetic experience.
Yes, exactly.
Did you explain that a little bit more? Like what makes it so unique?
Okay, so think of it like this. Imagine you're looking at a painting that really captivates you. It might not be traditionally beautiful in the conventional sense,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something about it, the composition, the colors, the emotions it evokes that draws you in.
Oh, I get it. So it's not just about what we see, but it's how it makes us feel.
Exactly, yes. It's about that spark, that connection.
That goes beyond just the surface level.
Exactly. It's about those intangible qualities. You know, someone's personality, their humor, their kindness, the way they make us feel.
It's like we're drawn to the whole person,
Yes, the essence of who they are.
not just their looks.
Right. It's about so much more than that.
And this whole aesthetic experience,
Yeah.
it's influenced by so many things.
Right. We've got those evolutionary preferences, you know, for symmetry and health,
Mm-hmm.
but also cultural influences, personal experiences, individual preferences. It's fascinating.
It really is like this whole dance between nature and nurture,
Exactly.
biology and psychology.
It's this beautiful tapestry.
It really is. And, you know, as we become more aware of all this,
Mhm.
it helps us navigate relationships in a different way, right?
Totally, yeah. With more understanding, more intention.
And maybe even more appreciation for the beauty and diversity.
Absolutely, yes. The allure of individuality.
Yeah.
The magic that happens when two souls connect.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I'm already starting to see the world differently.
That's great to hear. And in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some practical tips for cultivating that self-love, challenging those societal beauty standards, and really building those authentic and fulfilling relationships.
So, you know, thinking back on everything we've talked about, it's pretty clear that true beauty goes way beyond just looks.
Oh, absolutely. It's so much deeper than that.
It really is. It's about, you know, accepting who we are,
Yeah,
imperfections and all,
totally.
and recognizing that beauty comes in all different forms, you know?
Absolutely. Celebrating diversity,
Yeah.
uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. And I think as we learn to kind of accept ourselves,
Yeah.
it can make us more attractive to others too, which is interesting.
Right. It's like that inner confidence
Yeah.
just radiates outwards. You
Yeah.
know, it makes you more magnetic.
Yeah, because it's not just about like what you look like. It's like,
It's the whole package.
yeah, it's who you are.
Your energy, your vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where like all those psychological aspects come in.
Right, the kindness, the confidence,
Yeah.
the emotional intelligence, like those qualities become even more attractive
Hmm.
when you're comfortable with yourself.
Yes, totally. But it can be hard to like unlearn all those years of societal conditioning,
Oh, for sure.
and just embrace our bodies,
Oh,
flaws, and yeah, it's a process for sure.
Yeah. So, like, how do we even begin to do that?
Well, one really powerful strategy is gratitude.
Okay.
Take a moment each day to just appreciate your body for all
Yeah.
the amazing things that it does.
Like, instead of focusing on the things that you perceive as flaws,
Yeah.
shift your attention to what your body allows you to do.
I love that. It's like retraining our brains kind
Yeah.
of,
Exactly.
to focus on the good
Yeah, focus on the positive.
instead of getting caught up in all that negative self-talk.
Right, and challenge those negative thoughts when they come up.
Yeah.
Like, is this thought even helpful?
Mhm.
Is it kind?
Yeah.
Is it even true?
Right.
Because a lot of times they're not.
No, they're not.
And it's so important to surround yourself with positive influences too,
Oh, yeah.
Like, seek out media that celebrates different body types, that promotes body positivity.
Yeah. Unfollow all the accounts that make you feel bad.
Exactly, yeah. Curate your feed.
Yes, exactly.
Fill it with things that make you feel good.
Make you feel inspired.
Yeah, inspired and uplifted.
Yes. And remember, this whole self-acceptance thing, it's not like a one-time thing.
Oh, no, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, it's a journey. There are going to be days when you feel amazing,
Mm-hmm.
days when you don't.
Right.
But it's about being patient with yourself, being kind to yourself.
Yes, self-compassion is key.
It really is.
It's so important.
Yeah. This has been such a great conversation.
Oh, it's been a pleasure talking about all this with you.
Yeah, I feel like I have a whole new perspective.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, I really do.
And I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Just remember, you are worthy of love and acceptance,
Mhm.
just as you are.
Yes, I love that.
Embrace your uniqueness, celebrate your individuality,
Yes,
and let your true beauty shine.
I love it. It's been great chatting with you.
Likewise, it's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this kind of deep dive
Yeah, thanks for being here.
into body image and attraction.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning,
Keep learning.
and keep embracing the beauty of being perfectly imperfect.
Absolutely, beautifully said.